In this video, I want to talk about constructs, some understandings and observations I've had about constructs. And constructs, let me talk about them and how this came about first. I was guided intuitively to watch these videos by this man. His channel's name is Tamil Chinta Nayalar Padavai. And I have a playlist on my YouTube channel called Tamil Revelations. I'm putting a lot of the videos in there. And I was guided and basically by the divine telling me that these videos are real and they are restructuring my entire knowledge base about the gods and goddesses and the true history of the world. What you find is all the different traditions are actually copy and paste of one original tradition, which started in the Kumarikandam continent, which was some of the remnants are Sri Lanka and the South India. And this next wave you have is the Vedic wave, or the Aryans, which has actually become the Khazarians, which is from a basically it all originated there, and then there was a deluge that happened. And from that deluge, some of the survivors went off into Khazar, or it's called now Khazarian, something like this, which is the story of Noah, which then turned into be the Jewish people, which actually are the ones, the evil ones. Not that Jews are evil inherently, but there is a sect within that, the inner group of them that were the evil ones, who are playing the role of the evil, are the ones also behind the Vedic tradition as well, which I have been heavily into the Vedic tradition, which is also, I've come to understand, is a massive construct created by this group to actually destroy the original history, but also within it encode it the original history. For example, the Ramayana, the story of Rama, is actually a false story, or Ravana was actually a Tamil Siddha from the original group of people who were the first ones, the pioneers and the original scientists. Started with Shiva. They are also called as Adi Yogi. They have different names for this guy. Then once the deluge happened, it was Muruga who took over. Muruga is also Isho, or Jesus. He's also Horus. And he was the guy who basically carried from them the second Sangam, which is the original was the Shiva. And these guys were the ones who discovered astronomy, astrology, first agriculturists who started farmlands, who discovered the wheel and the weapons and created martial arts. All this came out of this original place, and then was copy and pasted, and then a lot of it was stolen and looted, and then had different names because, like they say, the victors write the story. And in this case, ultimately, the original people had temporarily lost at around the time of what they call as Parashurama, which is not an avatar of Vishnu. And there's this whole thing. I want you to go and watch the videos and check them out. I could talk to you about it for probably an hour of all the things I've been learning. But why am I making this video? With some of that said, which they restructure Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Dashavatars of Vishnu, and all the different days of the week, the color spectrum, why they're obsessed with the color black and Saturn, and all this, all the dots finally clicked when I got into this material, because it's coming back to the original source of all of this, which is everything else is just branches and differentiations and dimensions of the original thing. So what we have found and basically come to understand and observe is all these other things are they real? It's yes and no. They are real, but they're also not. And what do I mean by this? They are real in the sense of they are constructs. They are constructs that were brought to life, and enough people that have believed in them, which is then further programmed in the genetic material, which every being, it's a snowball effect, you see? So if you can convince a generation of people of something, and they believe it with their heart, mind, and soul, and they worship it, that's carried over into the next generation, which continues as snowball, and then you have these constructs, where the constructs become alive, they become real. And so you have these, a lot of the modern day gurus who are talking about them. What I've come to understand is they are accessing the constructs. Now, whilst the constructs may have had bad intentions, that is to mislead humanity and hide the truth and covet and to as a way to hoard that truth for a group of people to control others, which is a service to self orientation. The constructs themselves can be used for positive things. However, it is my firm belief that they ultimately will lead you to a very large box. You will go from a smaller prison cell to a very nice one, but ultimately you have to cross them at some point, because the end of the day is you have to establish yourself in truth. That's why the Siddhas say, you are not done until you realize the light body, or Siddhi. That mukti, which is the misconception that's taught in the Vedic tradition, which is the ultimate thing, which is a manual release from the body, is not it. And why? Because your body and what it is also information. If you leave the body here, and if you are not taking the body with you, or you're not turning into light, it is a sign that you have not established yourself in truth, because truth does not die. Truth is that which does not change. That is the definition of truth. It is always the same. And so when you leave the body, you still have a dichotomy or duality within you, where the body belongs here and you are something else. The truth is, you are the truth. And the truth becomes subtler and subtler, and the truth is fundamentally the subtlest aspect of reality. It goes from the elements, from earth to water, to fire, which is light, from light to sound, which is the air, and from air to space, which is the Akash, and then even beyond the Akash, the source. So there's sound to silence, or light to sound, sound to silence. And this is the actual enlightenment. The actual realization is that of truth. So what I am saying to you is, you have to be very careful what you're putting your belief in, and you have to get the right perspective. And how you do this is by holding on to an authentic and sincere desire that you must know and understand the truth. It has to be a priority. You can't be a bhakta, which is somebody who is blindly worshiping things. This whole bhakti movement is only a partial truth. Bhakti without wisdom is unwise. There's something called loving wisely. If you love unwisely, that means you are giving power to something that is not the truth. You are strengthening something that will destroy you. You are strengthening something that will destroy others. You are strengthening something that is sustaining suffering, sustaining limitation. So love is just a raw power. It is power itself. And so they have very cleverly used the bhakti movement, or bhaktiism, or being a bhakta, to actually keep people in bondage. Go and look at these people who are teaching these things. These people are all dying, or they're taking samadhis. Go look at them. Don't take my word for it. They are all dying because they have not established themselves in truth. It is not me declaring this. It is me observing and sharing the insights. You can go and see for yourself. They all died. All their teachings are based upon a partial truth. So they reached a certain level of it, a bigger box, a bigger prison cell. But they weren't able to get themselves out. And why? This is important. This is the most important part of the video. And so listen. Their perspective was wrong. That is why I said in the YouTube video short, 4 Steps to Being Powerful, perspective is everything. The perspective is your prison cell or is your salvation. The perspective is everything. So if you believe in the archetype in the thing, and that is, you're limited to that, not that it's not, there's some truth into it, because there's some seeds, kernels of truth in all of it. Once you penetrate it and find what was the origin of these things, there are some seeds of truth in it. But understanding the perspective is you are not limited to that, and you have to know what it is. And so the videos of Tamil Revelations, that playlist, there's a lot of good stuff in there. And all that stuff was targeted and started the Vedic tradition to destroy the original Siddha tradition, Asivaham, the original tradition of humanity, Or even, there's many people who say that the original language is Tamil. This is the true origins of civilization. Kumari Kandam, which then sank and then became the South Indian and Sri Lanka and like this. Then they went to Africa. Africa wasn't the start. Then they went to become the Aboriginals of Australia. This was the outpouring from the deluge, the story of the flood that's in all these traditions. This was Kumari Kandam. That is the original story that was copy and pasted to be Noah, copy and pasted to be this and that from the different traditions. It's all from the same one, the same pantheon, which was not actually a pantheon. We might be interested to know that what we were calling as gods were the Siddhas, the human beings who became gods. That's why Shiva is worshipped. Muruga. It's not that these beings are these abstract concepts and principles. These are actual beings who attained the highest realization of truth, and now they have become gods. This is why in the dark traditions they try to make them the dark overlords as gods, like the evil people, like the leaders of the world. They try to glorify all these people in history, where you find out are actually part of the evil agenda. So if anybody remember the history is written by the victors, any of these people who have been glorified, the Napoleons, the Alexander the Greats, all these people, these are all the part of the service to self tradition. That was the ones who got their butts kicked, who tried through their jealousy, who went down the wrong path, because basically they were sort of like washouts from the original tradition. And then they became jealous of it, and they tried to destroy it. They tried to take the power from it and co-opt it and steal it, basically, instead of doing it the right way. And they have continued this on, and this using of it to manipulate humanity, which was really just a very selfish agenda that they weren't able to do it the highest way, so they decided to try to destroy it and co-opt what they could for themselves. And they have also themselves only realized a very, very limited part of it. They have collapsed from it what they have wanted. And because their perspective is limited, they're only able to collapse a very limited aspect of it. And ultimately are destroying and have destroyed themselves. And I could go on and on about this. The key takeaway: perspective is everything. The constructs are at once real and are once not. I was talking before about the gurus, talking about this, the teachers. And when they're talking about these different avatars of Vishnu and these different epics, when they're tapping into the ones that were actually constructed by the victors that are not real, they were literally written by people who had bad intentions to cover up. They are accessing real things. It's a living tradition. People have believed in this and kept it alive. So when they think about these things, it's like they are accessing this construct, which is a living information, but is not based upon the truth, but it is at the same time alive. So the story of Rama and all this, and these characters, while they're, majority of them are all made up, they are real in a sense when they start thinking about them, reflecting on them, because their perspective that they think that they are real, they're able to access them as real beings, as real things. And so you can see how this is all perpetuated and down the line through the different traditions. So at the end of the day, is you have to fall in love with the truth. Know this, the truth and love have to go together. They are actually two sides of the same coin. If you are loving without the truth, you are loving unwisely. If you are in truth but not loving, you're never... So the man needs the woman, the truth needs the woman, the love, in order to experience themselves. The woman needs the truth in order to root themselves in something that's not superficial. The woman without the truth is chaos, destructive. The man without truth or the man without love is inert. They're going to be depressed. They're going to have no way to express themselves, no way to enjoy the existence, because is with the objective reality. And then it just goes on and on. I could literally talk about this for an hour. So I want to stop it here. If you want to hear me ramble about this some more, leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this video. Make sure to check out the Tamil Revelations playlist on my channel. And also, if you want to join my private Slack group, where we do live events with biofield tuning, meditation, coaching, and access to all kinds of stuff that I don't share with everybody else. It's a free group to join. We meet live via Zoom. Email me. I'll put the email address in the description, probably a pinned comment. It's Moonra1900. That's 19. There's actually 3 zeros, so it's 19,000. AMUNRA19000 Shoot me an email. If you like this video, hit the like button so other people can find it. As always, wishing the best. Happy manifesting. God bless.